If you don't know what Doritos Crash Course is, or DCC for short, it's basically something like Ninja Warrior but as a 2.5D platformer, where you run, jump, and slide to get the best times. Your avatar tries to avoid obstacles like hammers, crushers, moving platforms, and giant balls. Also, I'm going to be talking about the console port since the PC version changed some structures and made the physics really weird. With that in mind, let's begin with the video. In the Doritos Crash Course community, there has always been a debate on which level is better, USA 2 or USA 3. Everybody has a different opinion, but today I'm going to try to answer that question, both from a casual gameplay perspective and a speedrunner perspective. So grab a glass of water and enjoy me talking about a free game made by a chips company. So let us start off with USA 2, learning the ropes. We begin with a deepening in the ground with a hammer inside of it. You can either slide underneath it or jump over it, which is fun to choose. Now, why is it good to slide, a new player may ask? Well, you go fast when you slide. And if you pair that with a jump, you get really fast. Like blazing speeds. Just look at this comparison. Amazing. Afterwards we have two routes, one on top and one on the bottom. They both don't slow you down and doing this weird slide jump at the bottom feels kinda cool. Then we have another deepening in a platform with a crusher on top of it. Sure, you can just go underneath it, but you can just jump through it. Now we get to an ocean of conveyor belts, over which you can easily jump over. Doing this jump feels a bit weird, but hey, more slide jumps equals more speed! Now we see our first moving platform and another crusher in the middle. As with a lot of things, you jump over the platforms, but the crusher slows you down for a bit. During that time you can reset your sprint, but why is that important? You see, when you hold down the run button for too much time, you start wiping out, which gets rid of all of your speed and does this little silly animation. Although the world record uses a different route. Now you have some decently spaced platforms, which make it a bit trickier to navigate, but you jump over them. And halfway through the level we finally see our first rope! Yep, the title is very accurate. This part gives you a lot of open space to experiment with. Now, what does a rope do? It gets rid of all of your momentum. But by precisely spamming A, speedrunners are able to avoid such things. The section after it has a lot of different hammers that can be difficult to maneuver. But as always, you just jump over them, I guess. Now there's a huge gap in the rope in the middle. You would think that you just have to take the rope, but nope. By sliding late, you can easily skip it and keep your speed. This part is two moving platforms and a bunch of conveyors at the bottom. Luckily it isn't too difficult to jump on top of them. Now there is a line of crushers, but as long as you're careful, or stupidly fast, you have nothing to worry about. For this section you would think there's only one way, to go into the moving platform and use the rope, but nope, that's too slow. So by using an oversight from the developers, we can do this. Yeah, this is a wonderful game. Now it's kinda difficult to perform, with some practice you can do it. Now for these two crushers. When I started playing this game, it was hard to figure out a fast way. And the answer to that is just to wait until the crushers go down. A bit anticlimactic, you know. Now for the final part where you swing on some ropes and jump onto another moving platform. Fun fact, it's faster to not use a second rope. So in total we've used 2 ropes for a level called Learning the Ropes. Nice. And that concludes USA 2. Now why did I make this video in the first place? Well, it's because of Cyclone. A guy that gets insane world records and plays better than I ever will. And he stated that everything after the first 8 seconds of USA 3 are quote, pure bliss. He used to have the world record on the level. So let's see if he is correct with Jungle Gym Hijinks. Who creates these names? The level opens with a seesaw and a lot of room to experiment with. Luckily, you can just jump over it. Now comes the section that nobody likes. You might be wondering, what's so bad about it? You just use the ropes. Well, that's the neat part. You don't. You know by now that slide jumping makes you fast, but something you might not know is that it also increases your jump. So by crouching, or by doing this really weird looking slide jump, you can do this. This skip took me a long time to figure out because the wall kinda pushes you in this weird way. But hey, at least it saves time and looks cool. After that you have this chain where you have to precisely jump off of it to be fast. Afterwards we have a hammer in a deepening and some more hammers, but you just jump over them. Now comes another dumb section. The first rope you can skip by just sliding underneath it, but the second rope seems unskippable. Although by doing this timing, I'm too terrible to do, you can jump over it. So that's a lot of BS in the like what? First 13 seconds! Well, it can only go up from here. Because this section has some platforms that you can fall through, but you really have to try to actually fall down there. From a speedrunning perspective, this section is free. For the next 2 checkpoints come a lot of hammers and gaps, but by being fast you can just, say it with me, jump over it! Afterwards comes this cool part where you have to jump from platform to seesaw, but it's kinda free. Now comes the second time where conveyor belts are used to speed you up. Luckily the hammers aren't a problem, so it just feels good to breeze through this. Next up are some crushers and platforms that slow you down, but it's easy to avoid them. Here we also see the introduction of paintballs, that when collided with slow you down. But if you know what to do, this is another free section. Also, I like how you can slide jump off this paintball machine. It looks pretty cool. Now comes some more conveyor belts that speed you up, and a moving platform that you just ignore. This section is probably the best looking one, because there are a bunch of paintballs shooting from the ground. But they're not an obstacle, so you can do a lot of slide jumps. Now this might look a bit confusing, but the fastest way is to slide down, use the 2 chains, slide a bit more, and jump off the rope into victory. So now I have dissected the levels, and it's time to answer the question, which level is better? USA 3 has a lot of cool parts using conveyor belts, but the first few seconds are just a bit annoying. USA 2 has some more rounded edges regarding the difficulty, but some parts are not as fun to play. You can debate about it, but at the end, it's all down to personal preference and which level you like more. Okay, I played both levels. USA 2 is just better. I'm sorry. But huge thanks to the DCC speedrunning Discord for giving me the idea, making the poll, giving me the clips, and the feedback. But I hope I won't get any hate for my opinion, and have a nice day.